Well, good morning to all the children and families of Gethsemane Lutheran Church here in beautiful Hopkins, Minnesota. We're so glad you're here this morning. My name is Nancy Sullivan, and I direct the Children's and Family Ministry program here at our church. And it's such, I gotta tell you, it's such a beautiful spring morning here. The sun is just kind of breaking through the clouds, and we are in the courtyard of our church, and I don't know if you can see it, but everything's blooming. The bushes, the everything. And over here you can't see, but there's tulips. There's yellow and pink and orange tulips. It's all so lovely. Well, on days like this, I have this Bible verse that comes to mind, and it's one of my favorite verses. And I'd like to share that with you, but I want to call in our special guest for this morning. Laura, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm the Confirmation and Youth Director here at Gethsemane, and I'm so happy to see all of you this morning.
Yeah, and I was talking with Laura. We've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings because we're planning VBS, which is another thing I'm going to talk to you about at the end of our time together. But I was talking to Laura, and she was saying, you know, I would really like to join you on that video because I miss all the youth and the people that she works with. So I'm really glad you're here today. And I'm glad she's here today because Laura knows my favorite Bible verse. And I bet if I give you the first line of the Bible verse, can you finish it up for me?
Probably, I think so.
Okay, we're gonna try it. All right, ready? This is the day that the Lord has made.
Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
I think we should say that again. That's a great place to start. Because that's a verse that makes us joyful and happy, right, Laura?
Right.
And we can remember, even though we're going through some hard, difficult, uncertain times, that the Lord gives us pause, that there's reason to rejoice. So let's say that together, you and I. Ready?
Ready.
All right.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
All right, I think that serves as our prayer this morning. We always like to invite the Lord to be part of our gathering, and that verse is just a way of saying, Lord, we're so happy. We're so happy that you're here. And I'm happy today because Laura has brought her guitar, and she is going to lead us in an opening song. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the song, Laura?
Sure. Well, Nancy was telling me about the Bible story she's going to read to you, and some of the words from the Bible story are in this song, and it's called Go Make Disciples, and the words are, you can repeat after me, Go make disciples.
Go make disciples.
Baptizing them and teaching them.
Baptizing them and teaching them. Laura, I can hear them. They're repeating it.
Go make disciples.
Go make disciples.
For I am with you.
For I am with you.
Till the end of time.
Till the end of time.
Go.
Go.
Be the salt of the earth.
Be the salt of the earth.
Go.
Go.
Be the light for the world.
Be the light for the world.
Go.
Go.
Be a city on a hill.
Be a city on a hill.
So all can see.
So all can see.
That you're serving me.
That you're serving me.
Go.
Go.
All right, let's try it. Baptizing them, teaching them,
praise the Lord. You know, and singing is such a beautiful way to lift up our hearts and our souls to God.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful place to start this morning. Well, Laura and I are going to kind of pull up a couple chairs here. We're going to sit 6 feet apart, because that's what we're doing these days, right? We're sitting 6 feet apart, and I have my mask here, and when I'm walking around the building, I always wear my mask, but today I'm going to be real careful. I'm going to sit 6 feet away, and Laura and I are going to have a little chat. All right. And I got to get my birdhouse here.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun because these days, I don't know about you boys and girls, but I've been spending a lot of time on my deck. And I kind of like to sit on my deck because when the sun shines, I look up. I look up because there's lots of beautiful things that God has created. And when I lift my eyes on my deck, I see this little birdhouse, because the birdhouse is kind of attached to a higher place on my deck. And when I look up at this birdhouse, I kind of see little birds fly in there. Sometimes I put bird seed in there, Laura. It is really fun because little sparrows will fly in, and sometimes the birds are a little bit big. Have you ever seen a wren?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't quite squish in there. But that's a beautiful sight in the springtime, to see birds and to hear them singing. And the other thing I like looking at when I'm on my deck and I lift my eyes, and you can maybe see some of the trees here that are in our courtyard, but I look up, Laura, at the beautiful leaves on the trees. And a few weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, but the trees were completely bare. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, and gradually we've seen the buds come, and the trees have kind of come to life now, and they're really super green and lovely, and all the bushes. And the other thing I like to look up at, and today there's some clouds in the sky, but sometimes, Laura, the sky is so blue. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
And you can't look down at the stones on the ground or the dirt because the sky is so beautiful and blue. Well, maybe boys and girls, you've been looking up too. Maybe you've been lifting your eyes to see beautiful sights. Maybe you've looked at the stars, or just things in your yard that make you happy. There's lots of things that we can look up at. And I was thinking, Laura, are you doing any looking up?
Yeah. Some of you have maybe met my dog Zoe, and she really likes to chase squirrels. And we have a lot of tall trees in our neighborhood, and every time we go for a walk, we spend lots of time looking up at the squirrels in the trees. And Zoe is hoping that they're gonna come down and let her chase them, but it never happens.
She likes squirrels, doesn't she?
She really likes squirrels.
Does she bark at them?
She cries because she's sad that she can't catch them.
Yeah, so you've even got a dog that's looking up.
Yep, yep.
Are there any other things that make you lift your eyes?
Well, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I really like baseball, and my favorite team is the St. Paul Saints. And on Tuesday, it was supposed to be the opening day, but it had to be canceled.
Well, I heard they came up with a name for that.
Yeah, they called it Nopening Day. And we got to go in our cars in a line, and we got to see the mascot and some of the other people that are on the team, and we got a free hat, and it was lots of fun. But even though it wasn't the real opening day, when baseball is happening, I love to watch the baseballs soar, especially
Isn't
when
that
the
fun?
Saints hit a home run.
Yeah, and you kind of follow that ball with your eyes,
Yeah.
don't you? That's
Yeah.
really fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that makes you look up?
Well, I really like weather. And so I like to look at the sky a lot. But my favorite time to look up in the sky is when there's a big thunderstorm. And I love to look at the clouds, the different shaped clouds, and the lightning.
You like lightning, huh?
I do.
I was wondering, boys and girls, do you like thunder and lightning? Because sometimes people get a little nervous and scared of lightning, but you love it.
I love it. I used to be really scared of thunderstorms.
When you were younger, probably.
Yes, but then I learned more about weather, and then I really, really loved it.
That's great. And you know, sometimes at night it's kind of like a little show that the heavens put on. Lightning
Yes.
and thunder. When that lightning kind of lights up the sky, you can almost see everything again.
Yes.
It's not so dark for just a little moment.
Yep.
It's a wonderful thing. Well, we've been talking this morning about springtime and all the beautiful ways that we're called to look up, not down, to look up and see God's glory, because there's a lot happening above, isn't there? A lot of beauty, a lot of beautiful things that God has created that help us to kind of lift our gaze towards the sky. And this morning, boys and girls, I have this amazing story. It's a Bible story, Laura. And it's about a day when the disciples of Jesus unexpectedly looked up. And it's such a cool story, Laura, because they saw something that absolutely amazed them. They weren't expecting it.
What was it?
I think we should read the story,
Oh, good.
don't you?
Yes.
Because I want to know what it was that those disciples saw. They looked up.
Me too.
Should we read it?
Yes.
All right. I have my Spark Bible here. So nice that we can have the Bible anywhere we want to put it. Even out in the courtyard, we can have a Bible have a prominent place. All right, and I better get my glasses too. Where did I put my glasses? Are they over there? See, I'm getting old and I need my glasses. Laura, you probably don't need glasses, do you?
Not to read. Not yet.
Not to read? All right. Well, here is the story. And I think I can read it without my glasses because it's big print.
That's
All right. This story is called The Ascension. It's kind of a big word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Ascension. Let's see what the Ascension is all about. So here you can see, boys and girls, these are some of Jesus' disciples. Can you see them? And they kind of look like they're looking up and they're looking at something, right? All right. After Jesus died and rose again, he and his disciples, they got together. And they were kind of hanging out near Jerusalem. And Jesus had some very important instructions for them. And here's what he told them. He said, "My dear friends, as you know, God is doing amazing things in the world." Kind of reminds me of right now, when we're in this hard time, that God is still doing amazing things in our world. And he told the disciples, "I need your help. And you all need to go tell stories to the world about me." So that was very important, Laura. He told them, you got to go out and tell people about me. And he said, tell your friends And he said, tell your family and everyone you meet. That's a lot of people, isn't it?
That's a lot of people.
Tell everyone you meet what you've learned by following me. And be my witnesses in the world. Now, Laura, do you know what a witness is?
I think a witness is somebody that can tell a story about something that happened, that they saw.
So they experience something, they go through something, they live out a story, and then they remember it.
And then they tell someone else.
And they tell someone else. So that's, I think, maybe what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples, is you got to tell the stories of what you've learned from me. Okay, now here's the good part. This is the really good part. You ready? All right. Then, this is what it said, then suddenly, Jesus was rising. Laura, you're looking up.
I need my sunglasses.
I know. He wasn't standing on the ground, Laura. He was rising, and he kept rising. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
I know. He just kept rising and rising, and the disciples were they looking down when he was rising? Laura, what do you think?
No, I think they probably were looking up.
I think they were probably looking up because Jesus kept going up, 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 up. And so the disciples kept watching and watching and watching, and they were thinking, what is going on? You can imagine.
I can. I wonder if they had sunglasses.
I don't think they had sunglasses back then, Laura, but maybe they went like this.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
To shield them from the sun as they watched Jesus go up. And he was going up to, where do you think he was going?
I think heaven.
Yes. He was going to heaven to be with somebody that he loved, his Father. So the disciples, they were down on earth and they were saying, what is going on? Why is Jesus rising? And where in the heck is he going? And soon they saw him being, and this is amazing, Laura, he was being lifted on what? A cloud. I'm just saying.
It's pretty cool.
He was being lifted on a cloud. And so Jesus' friends looked around, and then if that wasn't enough, now listen to this, Laura. Two men robed in white, they were wearing white robes. They all of a sudden were standing with them. Two men that weren't there before, the two men were standing with Jesus. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
And the men started talking, and they asked the disciples a question. They said, why are you just standing around looking up? Why are you just standing around looking up? And the disciples didn't know how to answer that question because they were still looking up. And the men in the white robes, they knew they were kind of worried. And they knew that the disciples didn't know what was going on. So they said, don't worry. Don't worry that Jesus is rising. Don't worry at all because Jesus is going to come back to you someday. And then the disciples, we don't know exactly what they did, but I imagine they just went, phew. Jesus is going to come back. But we can always remember that when we looked up, we can be witnesses to what we saw. And we can tell other people Jesus rose to heaven on a cloud and he's coming back. And so after that, Laura, do you know what the disciples did?
Well, let's see. They must have gone out and told stories.
They did exactly what Jesus told them to do. Remember at the beginning of the story? What did Jesus tell the disciples to do?
To go and be witnesses.
To go and be witnesses, to tell the story, to rejoice in the Lord and all his teachings and all that we've learned from him. And you know, this message I think is so important for us today, Laura, because we have work to do too. And even though these are hard times, even though our lives have changed quite a bit, right? We can't go to playgrounds as much as we used to. We can't go to stores as much as we used to. It's just very different when we worship here at Gethsemane. We worship in
our homes.
Yeah, we worship in our homes or we can drive our cars here, but we haven't been to church in a long time, so it's easy to kind of just look down and just sort of be sad. But this story today, boys and girls, moms and dads, reminds us that Jesus doesn't want us to look at all the sad things, even though it's important, because a lot of sad things are happening in the world. What does he want us to do?
Look up.
He wants us, that's right, he wants us to look up and to just trust with all our hearts, even though we may not understand what's going on here, down here on the earth. Springtime is a beautiful time to remember to look up and to trust and to rejoice and to say that those beautiful words that we spoke, that Bible verse that we spoke right at the beginning of our time together. And I think you and I should maybe just say that verse together to close.
Sure.
And to remember that we're always called to rejoice in the Lord always. So, in closing, Laura, let's just, you and I join together and say that beautiful verse from the Psalms. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And thank you so much, Laura, for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Nancy.
And will you come again?
I would love to come again.
All right. We'll see you later, boys and girls.